Hello everyone, welcome to the course Frozen Foods and Cold Chain Management. My name is Syed Abdul, working as Assistant Professor under NMU at Harcourt Butler Technical University, Kanpur. So, in this course Frozen Foods and Cold Chain Management, we have come to the end of Module 1, and in previous sections we have discussed various topics related to frozen foods such as introduction and fundamentals of frozen foods, freezing curve, components of freezing curve. So in this section we are going to see thermophysical properties during freezing, their measurement and application. So any thermal operation, freezing also comes under thermal operation, as there is removal of heat from the food material. So the thermal properties are very important to select the proper equipment or to design the proper processing conditions. So in this section we will see what are these thermophysical properties which are important and how they change during freezing, and how can we measure these and how can we apply so that we can get a desired processing conditions and processing equipment as per our requirements. So we will divide this lecture into two parts. So I will be discussing part 1 in this video. This lecture is introduction about these thermophysical properties, and then we will see variation of specific heat during freezing and how we are going to measure it, and as well as enthalpy. In section second part we will see thermal conductivity, thermal diffusivity and density part. These three we will discuss in second section. So data on thermal properties of foods are essential to design and control the thermal processing of foods, which include either heating or either giving heat to the food material or removing heat from the food material, and thereby ensure quality and microbiological safety of foods. It is often a difficult task to use the measurement methods correctly and apply the knowledge of thermal processes in industrial applications. So what is the big task involved in measuring the thermal properties of or physical properties of frozen foods is, we know during freezing there is a phase change in water to ice. So the properties of these frozen foods are during freezing of food materials depends strongly on the temperature. So where the at what temperature we are performing the freezing operation, and we know that there are large differences in the thermal properties of water and ice. So this is also a big problem when studying the variation of these thermophysical properties during freezing, right, between the ice and liquid water, because of the varying proportion of ice below the freezing point also. So below the freezing point, if you keep reducing the temperature, the proportion of ice changes continuously. It does not stand at a constant composition, because the ice continuously water is being continuously converted into ice. So these are the various problems. You see this graph is taken from a research paper to show the change in specific heat. So here they have taken a food commodity, say food material, whose having a 80% moisture content. That means its mass fraction of water is 0.8, protein content is somewhat 0.05, and then fat content is around 0.075, and then carbohydrate content is around 0.075, and the remaining is your ash. So when we plot the changes in specific heat capacity of that material with respect to temperature during freezing, you can see here there is a sharp increase at freezing point. The freezing point of this food material is -1 degree centigrade. At -1 degree centigrade, you can see there is a sharp increase in the specific heat capacity of the food material due to release where there is release of latent heat of crystallization. So we know what is specific heat. Specific heat is the amount of heat required to raise the temperature or sometimes decrease the temperature of a food material through 1 degree centigrade, 1 kg of food material through 1 degree centigrade, right? So here, to remove that, we need to we need to take out the large amount of heat, because there is contribution of latent heat. So that is why there is increase in the specific heat initially in during when freezing started, right? -1 up to -5. So you can see there is sharp increase and there is fall, and the specific heat remains constant because here at this point you can say the water is feasible water is completely frozen and there is no further changes in the composition, so the specific heat remains constant even though you decrease the temperature. So we know water has a large specific heat capacity of 4.18 kilojoule per kg degree centigrade. Compared with ice, it is very large because ice is having only 2 kilojoule per kg degree centigrade. And even latent heat of crystallization, we know that around 334 or 335 kilojoule per kg at atmospheric pressure 0 degree centigrade. So because the large values of specific heat and latent heat of water, the energy required for freezing and as well as thawing of foods is large, and it increases with increasing water content of the food. Specific heat capacity being additive property can be calculated by a simple mixing formula. So as you recall from your previous course, that is engineering properties of foods, where we have determined or we have studied various methods to determine the specific heat of food materials. So if you recall from that, the specific heat can be taken as summation of the composition product of composition and specific heat of the food material. So this is the mass fraction of the food component of the food as well as specific heat of the component of the food. So the summation of these products of all components can be taken as a specific heat of the food material, right? So but what happens in freezing? X is your moisture content, specific heat for water, and ice, say xi is your ice, vary with temperature. So therefore a term has to be added to take into account the specific heat capacity variation due to changes in proportion of ice. So this dxi by dt represents changes in composition of ice. Xi is ice composition, so dxi by dt represents the change in composition of ice with respect to temperature multiplied by latent heat, which is also a function of temperature, right? So this term can need to be added while we calculating the specific heat of the frozen foods. Now if I have given the explanation of this, the steep peak of the specific heat at the initial freezing point followed by a small stable value through the remaining part of freezing used due to the latent heat contribution from the gradually frozen out ice. As I said, we have already discussed in the first set. Now we have to add this term to the specific heat, right? So here specific heat, which is a function of temperature of a food material, can be taken as specific heat of solids other than ice 1 minus specific mass fraction of water plus specific heat of water into mass fraction of water, and this term indicates the unfrozeable water, that is 1 minus xi plus Ci into xi, that is specific heat of ice into mass fraction of ice, plus the term 2 represents the that is component of ice as well as the latent heat. So by adding all this term we shall be able to calculate the specific heat of the food material during freezing. We know enthalpy is the heat content in the any system. The total heat content in any system is enthalpy, and it is always calculated by using a reference temperature, right? Tref. So usually it can be minus 40 degrees centigrade or it can be 0 degrees centigrade sometimes, but mostly it is minus 40 degrees centigrade, that is below the range of temperatures usually considered in modeling the behavior of frozen foods. So if you look at the enthalpy is the product of specific heat in temperature change, Cp, which is a function of temperature, into dt within the temperature range to a reference temperature to the actual temperature. Say we are freezing at a temperature of minus 20 degrees centigrade and reference temperature we have taken minus 40 degrees centigrade. So this enthalpy always decreases during freezing as we taking the heat out of the food material. So if you see this change of the food material, the same food material here we have taken with respect to temperature decrease in temperature, the enthalpy gradually changes. Here the change is linear till it reaches its initial freezing point, but the change up to the freezing completed is exponential. After reaching this, after when the freezing is completed, you can see again the change in enthalpy is linear, right? So same here you can give because the liberation of the latent heat that has to be removed, so that why the change is somewhat exponential up to initially from initial freezing point till freezing is completed. After freezing is completed, the curve is linear.